Hello and welcome back to Finding Freedom, the show that empowers you to become the freest version of yourself, one critical question at a time.
Our culture is being erased, you know.
And you have a very distinct 1,000-year-old or older culture that's based on Irishness, the indigenous population of the island that we're on right now. And they're being replaced at super high speed. So you have said immigration is treason, mass migration is treason. Describe the scale of it to Ireland and its effects.
Well, in the olden days, my family, the McGregor clan, you know, treason is you're hung, drawn and quartered if you commit treason against your nation.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's what is going on here is an abomination, a travesty, and it cannot continue for much longer. As you said, we are an island unto ourselves, a small island, and we are being governed by a small people who are in turn being governed by another minute group of people. And it must stop, and that's it. There's so much worry in this government elite circle about myself running for president. And if we are a true democratic nation, which we are not, and I don't believe so, and it's becoming more and more clear and more evident, and the more Irish people are being awakened to this fact. But if we are, let the people decide. You know, it is this cozy clique where you have to almost bend the knee, you know, to even have a shot at this. We should be on the ticket, and a citizen of Ireland should be allowed to be on the ticket above a certain age, of a certain creed, and let the people decide.
A ticket to run for president.
Ticket to run for president, that is it. I do not
wait, hold on. Why, this is a democracy, supposedly, why can't you run for president?
Because there's stipulations. You have to get 4 county councils, which are controlled by the government parties. You have to get 20 nominations of the Oireachtas, which are all mostly party affiliates.
So you can't just run for president?
You can't just run for president.
So how is it a democracy?
Yeah, there you go. How is it? It isn't.
Oh, are you going to do it anyway?
I'm going to push forward and carry on my journey, highlighting my country's plight, my country's fight, and also my country's delight. You know, I do not want to be doom and gloom here, as I said.
Yes.
Dublin is the greatest city on earth, and Ireland is the greatest country on earth. And I know as an American man, you're probably sitting there in your chair, but we love Ireland dearly, our people.
No, I'm not actually. I'm just the opposite. I'm thinking you've got a claim on being the greatest country.
You've got a claim, for sure.
You do.
And it's worth fighting for. And that's it. That's what
But so why wouldn't people, I know the media here hates you, but I've never understood why. I mean, you're not calling for invading anybody or throwing anyone in prison, maybe other than your corrupt leadership, who sound like they deserve it. Why would they hate you?
I'm just calling for our national safety. Right now, our national security is at risk, and that is a fact. We are being overrun, and it's a danger to the public. And on top of that is our overspending of our public wealth. It is preposterous, the splashing of our money on issues that have not got to do with us, and 2, that actually directly put us in danger. And these are my issues that I wish, we'll say, run on our campaign. You ask about my political aspirations. I am of the belief that the era of the politician must end. It must come to an end. It has proven unfruitful, and that is clear as day by the statistics and by what we see around us. It is straight chancery. Our ministers and our appointed ministers have no history in the roles that they are appointed to. Our Minister of Finance has no history in accounting. Our Minister of Health has no history in the health industry. Our Minister of Education was never a school teacher, as an example. It is straight chancery we are dealing with. The era of the politician must end, Tucker. And I can see with the selections of the Trump administration that we look upon, which has been 24/7 work rate from my vantage point. You know, Trump, a businessman. You know, he's running it more like a business, and with common sense. You know, that is where I would see it more so than these politicians where they're all in this clique and it's a party. They are working on behest of the party and not the people. They are working to curry favour within the party to rise up the ranks. And then the heads of the party are working to curry favour on the people above them again to rise up another rank. It serves the country. It does not serve the country. And that is it. I'm simply highlighting it, putting it out to the people. If they wish for me to run, whatever my nation wants, I'm here for. That's it.
CNN has described you as the leader, and I'm quoting, of Ireland's far right.
Who has?
CNN, which is a news channel in the United States.
far left, far right, all of these terminologies mean nothing to me. I'm a family man. I'm an employer of the country. You know, I'm a supporter of many people, and I care about my land and the safety of its citizens and the prosperity of its citizens. I want preference. I want peace, preference, and prosperity for the citizens of Ireland, for my people. And isn't that fair for our countrymen and women? It is our country. Ireland is for Ireland, you know, and that is it.
So
I'm not right, left, you know, I feel I'm centered, grounded. That is where I feel. In fact, I ground myself every day. I walk out and I ground myself every day, barefoot in the grass. Barefoot is king. I fought in the octagons, in the cages all around the countries of Ireland, and then into the United States of America, barefoot. So I am a grounded man, neither left or right. I am center and grounded.
You're a plumber's apprentice on an industrial site in Ireland, cutting cast iron pipes and replacing them, or whatever you're doing, probably something like that. And then you wind up here thinking about running for president with these very evolved political views. How did that happen?
Having a love for one's country. That's it. I have a love for my country. I fought to represent my nation's flag on the grandest stage of fighting. That was my aspiration, to represent my nation, to open the doors of the fighting world and the martial arts world to the Irish public, and to support my teammates. We had a kindred spirit rising up, chasing our dreams, and a very tight-knit crew. And we rose up, and I got in there. I was successful. I opened it up now. The martial arts lifestyle is a real way of living for many people in Ireland, and I take great happiness in seeing that. And I suppose it's just continued off of that. You know, it's a different fight now. You know, it's a different fight, but it's still a fight to represent my country to the best of my ability.
So when you started fighting, as you said, you're a plumber's apprentice on an industrial site, and then you announce in public a few years after that, you haven't heard of me, but I'm going to be the world champion. And then you were.
Yeah. 5 times.
Five time. Did you know that you were going to be, or were you trying to put your marker out and then live up to it?
Well, that's what I will say here about, you know, I do not wish to be doom and gloom. Right? My outlook on life has always been to have a positive outlook, you know, borderline delusional. I could walk into a burning house and hear birds chirping, as an example. And that assisted me in being able to block out certain things that may have impacted me and hampered me and slowed me down from getting to where I was going. So I wish to continue with that and have a positive outlook and say it's not all doom and gloom. Like I said, there are positive changes happening incrementally, slowly but surely. And as I said, there's a great group of people, and it's the majority of Irish people that are at the helm of it. I'm a voice and a support, and as I said, I'm here to serve my country to the best of my ability and protect my country. That is all I wish. I wish for the people to have the power and myself to have a vote amongst the people. That is my aim.
What did you think of President Trump?
What do I think of him?
Yeah.
I think he's doing very, very well. I think, you know, I was present for his 2016 inauguration, although not officially. I was there on fighting business. I was fighting in Madison Square Garden for my second UFC world title. And MMA and UFC had just become legalized in New York at the time. And I remember Trump had been just voted in and he won the election. And there was uproar on the streets and anger and, you know, fear, I suppose, was going on. And at that time, I was just an observer. You know, politics wasn't really on my mind at that time. Ireland was not really going through what it was going through at that stage in 2016. Although it was rising, it was unbeknownst to me and many in the country.
Were you not political, really?
Not really political, no, at that stage. You know, I was focused on my craft, and it wasn't at the forefront. It all kind of took a turn post-COVID. It all took a real turn post-COVID. And you could kind of see what was going on and what had gone on post the crash, you know, and who our government is serving. You could kind of see that come to fruition then throughout the COVID era. And then I just became more invested in it, and then that was it. But I was there for Trump's inauguration when he was sworn in for the first time. Fear, worry, panic. And then I was there the second time in 2024, most recent, and it was elation and excitement. And I thought it was good to see. They asked me, what do I think he'll be as a president? I said, well, when it was 2016 in the media runs I was doing. And I said, let's see, you know, give the man a chance. He's not from political background. He's from a different background. It's interesting. Let us see. And I thought he'd done well. Towards the end of the term, there may have been times too, as a leader of a country, you almost need to, cool the flames. Maybe there were some things that might have fanned the flames towards the end of his term that I thought. But this time around, I feel he's off to a good start, and I wish him well. I wish the country of the United States of America well. I consider them my dear siblings. We consider America our sibling, and I think it's going well, and we're getting a good fair bit of energy from it from Ireland, even amidst the tariff situation that is going on. Ireland's people have not seen the money got to do with this whatsoever. In fact, we have been, robbed of our own money, and yet we are supposed to be this wealthy country. Yet the people of Ireland are struggling to heat their homes. So there are many people who are seeing this tariff situation as a gotcha moment for our government elite. I'm not so much of that. I wish for our country to be prosperous and our people to be prosperous, and that's what my aim is. That's what my wish is and my hope is.
So you're not necessarily against the tariffs, it doesn't sound like. Well,
our government say, what good is tariffs? Tariffs are no good for nobody. Yet they've been tariffing the United States. If that's the case, then why have we been tariffing them? Why have we been hitting them with tariffs? I'm not so much against it. I'm watching it. I'm watching it. I wish for economic success for my nation, and Ireland deserves it. That's how straight. We played our cards correct in certain ways, and that's it. But like I said, fair. It has to be fair. Fairness is key here, and that's what I push for.
Since no Irish politician, well, you're one of the maybe the most famous living Irishman. Okay, so there's that, world famous. And you're saying things that the overwhelming majority of your politicians will not say, that are probably pretty popular with the people. So you're therefore a massive threat to the structure running your country now. What do you think they're going to do to you if you keep talking this way?
Attempt to tarnish as they are, attempt to disrupt as they are, or possibly worse. But I do not fear. I do not fear it. Like I said, I move forward under God, and my nation can see. My nation can see my heart and what I'm for, and that's it. That's like I move on and carry on.
You're really not afraid at all?
Not an iota.
When do you have to make the decision about whether you want to formally enter politics?
Well, we believe the election will take place November 11th, so it's a 60-day run-up prior to that. So I'm just going to keep, requesting a democratic process to play out and allow the people to decide and see where it falls. It'll become more evident if they deny this, that we are not a democratic country.
Right.
And they'll have to answer to their constituents at some stage. There will be accountability. It's how much are they going to be accountable for? They'll have to decide. And that's it.
You've described yourself as an employer. You said that a couple of times. Tell us about the businesses you employ people in.
I've got many businesses here in the country. I've got about 300 staff all in. I've got public houses. I've got construction efforts going on, building social
public
housing.
houses, meaning we would call them bars,
pubs,
not public housing.
Pub is short for public house.
Right.
So I've got public houses. I've got breweries. I've got companies also with brand building, and I have also construction efforts where I'm building many social houses towards the housing crisis that's going on. I'm currently at about 300 houses built already, and I'm closing in on my next venture is about 1,000 houses built. So I'm doing my part to help this housing crisis. I've always been doing that, and it is at a heavy cost. I'm not going to lie, it's a heavy cost.
What do you mean?
Like there is no profit in it. It's a build, and it's for the people, and that's it.
There's no profit in building houses?
No profit in it. For social housing, I'm getting my money. I get my money back if I'm lucky. Maybe a little sweetener, a little drink, we'll say, here in Ireland.
Yeah.
So, but for the stress it is causing and the time, it's a difficult task, but it's worth it. There was one I completed a build of 8 houses. It was actually my very first one. It was maybe 2 years ago. I'm maybe 3-4 years ago, but it was in a part of Dublin called Santry, and it was 8 homes, and I had got them completed just before Christmas. So there were 8 homeless families that were brought into their new forever home right before Christmas. And that filled me with such energy to continue and go and do it. And I went full steam ahead. And like I said, now I'm in the process. I've got 300 strong now in construction, close to finish. And, you know, more than 1,000 being built already. And that's with me, my own self, able to do this with every block in my way. You know, if, as one individual citizen of Ireland, if I was to get in and to have influence, I really fancy my chances. I mean, the bar is so low. Every statistic, every metric is on the floor. Every metric is on the floor. I'd get in and I'd be able to decrease our homelessness, you know, build our housing, you know, slow down the roll of influx of illegal migration, control the spending. I fancy it. Our country has not been run correct, and it is clearly evident to everybody outside of the political paywall. Everyone is aware of it. And even those inside of the political paywall are also aware of it. However, they are being bullied, intimidated, and threatened with their livelihood unless they go along with it. So a turn will happen, a shift will happen. I'm doing my part, and I'm proud to do so and honoured to do so, and I will continue to fight for my country and the future of the children of this nation. And that's it.